Welcome back to another episode of It Is What It Is podcast presented to you by Bird Media Group. I'm your host, Cody Kelly. You can connect me on Instagram at CVMK33, Twitter at Cody's Life One. I have the one, the only talented Ami, rising social influence, music entrepreneur, music star. When you pay your tithes, things really do come true. She has agreed to this interview. We are so excited. Just to go over the rules, we have 10 questions. She can opt out of any question if it's too far left. But we really want to get to know her. So let me start off. Ami, thank you and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime. I have a few questions that I'm going to throw your way.
Okay.
Just try to get to know you a little bit better. So in one word, describe yourself.
Passionate.
Why?
Passion excites me. And it's motivating. It's encouraging. It's full of hope and unlimited possibilities. And that's the type of mindset that I want to have.
Is that what drives you? Unlimited possibilities?
Yeah. Like, I literally think I can do anything. And I know the things that I want to do specifically, and I do plan to do them. So
specifically, what do you want to do?
As an artist, I just want to make a lot of money. That's like a big deal to me. I want to make a lot of money. I want to put out good art. I want to put out art that represents Black people, more specifically Black women. I want to be an advocate for young Black girls who want to get started in entertainment, just to kind of give more exposure to the other sides of entertainment. Like, you don't have to always be the artist. You can be a mix engineer. You can be an event photographer. You can be a tour manager. You could be business manager, day-to-day manager. You could be hair and makeup stylist. So I feel like the type of society we live in now, there's just unlimited possibilities. People do what they want, when they want and how they want, and they're successful at it. It just depends on how hard you're willing to work.
Sure. Two-part question. Why music? And then the second one that kind of curtails what you just mentioned. Do you think there's a lack of diversity? Because normally when you think of a lack of diversity, the music industry isn't what pops out. If you think there's any industry that has diversity, it's the music. But apparently there is, or maybe an undertone of real opportunity for up-and-coming Black artists, specifically Black women. Mm-hmm. Why is that?
Okay, so to the first question, why music? Honestly, growing up, I was really smart. I was really good at a lot of things. I graduated third in my high school class, so I was totally a nerd. But music, I actually didn't want to do music. I got a scholarship for piano to go to Central State University, but I wanted to be a biochemist. So I had plans on changing my major after my first semester just so I could qualify for the scholarship and then get more scholarships that were in the field that I wanted to be in. My first semester at Central State, I just met some incredible people who helped me to be less shy and less timid and more in love with art, and then I just stuck with it from then. From then, as far as the lack of diversity, I think more so now that there isn't as big of a lack of a diversity, there's more so still the mindset or the stereotype that Black women have to do what we've seen them all do or always do, and that's be strong or not branch out outside of what we've seen Black women do. So we've seen Black women be protectors, providers, be strong, not be as vulnerable and as open. There's a big debate going on right now with the female rappers. A lot of people are saying there aren't any dope female rappers out, and there are a ton of super raw female rappers out. So I think it's more so knocking down the stereotype of the image of what people expect Black women to do.
So in the music industry, what is that image specifically?
That image is to be a singer. You know what I'm saying? That's really kind of, I feel like that's a big part of what people have seen Black women do, is just be singers. So when you see like me as a black woman that is a keyboard player, a composer, a music director, which means I'm in charge. I'm trying to effectively continue to learn to just manage temperaments and make people feel comfortable. That's not usually the role that we see. So I think I think there is an emerging lane for that. There are a lot of artists that have provided like super big opportunities to shine or give black women more exposure, like Beyonce having an all-female band and really having an all-female band for like the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? That's something that she hasn't strayed away from. Having people like Normani, I think Normani has like an all-female band. So being able to see black women in different lights and help them catapult their career and help them to be more of who they know they can be.
All right.
Yeah.
So describe your music specifically. What is it? It's not all the way hip hop?
Yeah.
Or is it?
Yeah. It's R&B, definitely with influences of all the music that I love. I love gospel music. Can't get away from it. I love it. So big influences from that, big influences from hip hop. I love the energy of hip hop. With rappers specifically, I love how they carry themselves. It's a different type of confidence that I see from rappers than what I see from other people who work in the industry. And that's the kind of confidence I try to have, or the way I try to carry myself as a performer or artist. So yeah, it's real soulful with, classical, gospel, hip hop. And then I'm just really inspired just by life and just experiences. So kind of all those things combined.
Speaking about inspiration, so this evolution that has transpired.
Yeah.
Grew up with you.
Yeah.
Remember the long skirts, skirts down
hey,
to
right,
ankles.
Right.
Right. Is it natural as we age that our foundation always stays intact, but the truth really comes about? Describe this evolution.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, really, if you just put everything into kind of like one sense. Evolution is the key, right? We always want to improve on the last thing that came before us. So I think of myself more so like as an oxymoron of, because of the way that I was raised, but I still hold those values or those morals firm and true to my heart, and those are the things that I live by. But I like to do other things. I enjoy other things. To me, church is a very big spiritual like thing, but it's also a very big social thing too. I think a lot of times as young black people, we kind of forget like, wow, like most of everybody I know ever in life, I probably grew up in church with them, or people that I still have or maintain close relationships with. It was a social environment. You know what I'm saying? It's like we were young. It's like we knew what we knew about God or about Jesus based off of what we seen, but we hadn't really experienced it for ourselves. But for me, it was like coming to church was like, oh, I'm about to listen to some music and see my friends. Same reason why people go to the club. Same reason why, you know what I'm saying? So I think it just depends on, I think the evolution just depends on, just kind of the different types of exposure you garner as you go through life, that just kind of helps you to settle in on what type of person you want to be. So my mom was very instrumental in that, and not saying that she took us to clubs or took us, what I'm saying, but we went to fashion shows growing up. We went to the circus, we went to the ballet, we went to go see the orchestra. So I was always exposed to things outside of church. And she was very adamant on us being able to have those other types of experiences and just helping contribute to us being better global citizens.
All right. Yeah. Let's take a shift because you hit upon it. It's without doubt that church was a vital part of your upbringing. What is missing from church today? And specifically when you talk about the black church, what used to be that doesn't exist anymore, or what isn't culturally relevant anymore?
Okay. That's an interesting question. Honestly, That's really interesting. I don't know if I can say that anything is missing. I think people are I think people just have more access to knowledge and more access to the truth. So it makes the tradition and just some things that we've just always done kind of seem irrelevant. And I think because of that, people have lost their momentum or their inspiration because it's just like, well, we always did this, but what is the real reason? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's more so that, honestly, and that's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a paradox because it's like church felt so real growing up. You know what I'm saying? When I go now, not saying it doesn't feel the same, but it's like I've just garnered more knowledge and more experience. So my life also feels that same kind of real too. You know what I'm saying? When I can call on God for myself, or when I'm able to get through experiences or struggles on my own, it's like that feels that type of real too. So I wouldn't necessarily say anything is missing. I would just say people are more exposed and they have more knowledge, and I think in that um, they make the decision on what's best for them.
All right. Speaking of exposure, as a black woman, do you feel that you have been granted the adequate amount of opportunities? Do you feel like there's a different level of scrutiny on you, not just as a performer, but as a person?
Yeah, I feel like it depends on the setting. I definitely agree with that. I do still feel like black women are marginalized in whatever industry. Even just specifically, even growing up in church as a little girl, that contributed a lot to my confidence and the reason that I was so shy, because it was always me competing with the boys. I'm grown now and it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like when they see me play, then they want to play it. When they see it, it's just like, well, I was doing this just because I felt led to do it, not because there was any competition or any, you know what I'm saying? So I think definitely I have not been provided the same amount of opportunities, or maybe opportunity in the same way, but it takes maturity, and I feel like this is a part of being an adult, is you have to carry the responsibility of the title that you want, regardless of what happens. So regardless of if people are discouraging me every day, or I'm getting kicked off, or put down or whatever, it's like it's my responsibility to rise to the occasion and do the work of the title that I want. So I guess that's a huge part of me as an artist, is to provide that advocacy and that exposure, and to see, okay, how can I help black women? In what way should I work with a black woman who's an engineer as opposed to this person? Nice. Should I have this black woman style me instead of having, you know what I'm saying? So just being able to I look up so much to Beyonce. I love her so much. But one thing I love about Beyonce is she creates her own economies, right? So she creates her own economies, her own community of people that she chooses from or that she works with, and she helps them to elevate and to do more with their lives. And that's the kind of thing that I want to be able to do.
All right. Yeah. Chasing your dream. A lot of times the rise to success is not easy.
Right.
So what has that been like for you?
Not easy. It's not easy only because there's no motto. One thing I'm learning about human beings is we feel most comfortable when there's structure, which we should, and when there is an example. A lot of people cannot do much without the structure, or with having an example of like, okay, this has already been done. So I think with the type of lifestyle that I live, I'm very courageous. You have to be very courageous and be okay with taking risk, because there is no right way to do this. You know what I'm saying? You literally have to be so in tune with yourself, so aligned with yourself and with God, and with what your passion is, what you feel like your destiny is, your purpose is, and you just have to live by that every day. Like, there is no cookie cutter way to be successful as an artist or a human being, period. And I think that's what, for me, I was most I guess, kind of flustered, like when I graduated college, because I was just so used to having structure. It's like I've been in school for 21 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, now it's like, well, what happens, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just grateful to be in a place of just heightened confidence, where I feel good about the decisions that I'm able to make, and that only comes through experiences, you know, trial and error, messing stuff up, learning from your mistakes. So it's like I feel that's necessary for everybody to experience those moments where you know, you got to regroup. You like, oh, I messed this up, or this didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, so now let's do this. But it's definitely not easy. And one thing that I live by, and I tell a lot of people, if you get used to the work being hard, you'll be successful. There's no point of griping over the work being hard every time. It's gonna be hard. So it's just like, you get used to the work being hard, you'll be fine.
Do you think it's the hard work that turns people away, or is it more fear driven?
I think it's a combination of both. I think fear is like the number one killer of anything that can be successful or good or whatever, happiness. Fear, in my opinion, is the opposite. Bible. Sure. Opposite of love. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Love and fear cannot dwell in the same place. So just like for my art or for my passion, that has been a big thing for me, because I've been afraid for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up, I was very shy, struggled deeply, especially being a performing artist, even at a young age. You know, I used to play like classical piano when I was like in 8th grade at church, at school, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, even still being a performing artist, like, I dealt heavily with anxiety about my self-image, about, you know, just my confidence and everything like that. So I think once I got in a place where I was willing to conquer that and make no more excuses for myself, because it's really an excuse. Like, you don't really have to be afraid of anything. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of the afterthought of like, okay, well, if I do this, then something may go wrong or something. You know what I'm saying? But if you just kind of turn a blind eye to fear and just be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. No matter what happens, this is what I'm going to do. And you just push through, then you'll be successful. But yeah, and I think people are lazy too. So, you know, because of the structure, though.
Right.
The structure makes you lazy, because then you don't have to think for yourself. True. You know what I'm saying? Even when you go to college, you sign up for classes that are already part of you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't get to, as a math major, and you like, oh, I want to take a music class. They're looking at you like, well, you don't get to do that. That's not a part of your electives. That's not. So we have been taught to not explore the things that we want to explore if they're not under a certain confine, you know? So I've just very much settled with the fact that, not even that I'm a rebel, but I'm just very adamant about living my life the way that I want to live it. And I don't feel like I should have to experience hell on earth before I have to go to heaven. I feel like I should have some sense of self-gratitude and motivation, and I should feel good. I should have a good life. And that's what I'm very just... Yeah.
That's interesting. I like that. I don't have to experience hell on earth before I go to heaven. It seems like to me, and maybe this is just culturally speaking, we're taught, as not just people of color, but also in faith, that somehow suffering is the sign of divine love or blessings. Yeah. And the reality is, and I'm not saying that you can't find evidence for it, but I am saying I think it's a little misleading.
Yeah.
Because if my life is only geared to suffer, then you have to question the purpose of it, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, that really struck with me. But I want to shift focus.
Okay.
The music landscape. When you see the rise of artists, your Cardi B's of your world, your Nicki's of the world, and it's kind of like, I read an article that said what happened to R&B music. And I guess you can't say that fairly, because you got Chris Brown, but I don't know if technically he'd be labeled underneath that banner.
Right.
Where are just your singers? Like, have we lost the art of singing, or?
I think that is a loaded question that I'm excited about answering. My personal opinion is there are a ton of singers, ton of people who have beautiful lyrics, can sing well, have the performative aspect because they have performed in church or, grew up singing in church. So they know how to take hold of an audience. They know how to draw people in. But honestly, going back to what I said earlier about having the confidence of a rapper, that's really the thing. I've met so many singers or musicians that are either lazy or they lack self-belief. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't help that R&B, in my opinion, is already like a marginalized genre right now. It's like hip hop is like the number one genre in the world. Like everything is hip hop.
Right.
Hip hop is selling out everything. So then you kind of get lost, with every other genre because you have to put on some of those aspects of hip hop. So I think that's where you kind of get people like LMA, where you see it's R&B but with a heavy hip hop influence, as opposed to, or people like LMA, people like SZA, right? So, but then you do have people like her. You got people like Lucky Day. You got people like Ari Lennox. BJ the Chicago Kid just dropped an amazing record, so it's like it's still there. I think that for everybody who's not like, I don't want to say like a leader in hip hop, but may not be at the forefront of that industry, you just have to find creative ways to market yourself and stay relevant. And I think that that's very taxing. I don't think people understand how taxing that is, especially if you don't have the budget to match. So we can have an artist like her who's off her first EP, she wins three Grammys, but she's been signed to RCA since she was 14. That's 7 years of artist development, training, and funding. I don't have that. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, okay, I got to get in where I fit in. And I think that's what a lot of artists lack, is understanding like you have an abundance of skills. You have to use or do more than just being an artist. You know what I'm saying? All of the things that you read off most of the things are from me being a keyboard player. You know what I'm saying? It has really nothing to do with nothing yet, but nothing to do with me being an artist or, my songs being the ones that I'm touring on. That's me making my way, opening my own doors. You know what I'm saying? So I think people, and it's easy to become impatient, but I think people become impatient with the process because we all have this destination mindset. It's like you have to kill the destination and just fall in love with the journey and let it be what it's going to be.
Do artists make compromise? If a label came to you today, said $1 million advance, I want you to sing Green Apple whatever, and it's trash, you hear it, the whole concept is whack, but it's $1 million. Do you think that happens more often than not? Like, because...
Yeah, I think it definitely happens for a lot of hip hop artists. For singers, I think it just depends on the person. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what you have to think long term, like, what do you want your legacy to be? You know what I'm saying? What do you want people to know you for? So I think I know this as an adult now. People will do anything for money. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. In my opinion, $1 million is not a lot of money. Don't come to me with $1 million, because I'm going to be like, well, I'm just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm going to make my own million. You know what I'm saying? If it was a little bit more, maybe I would consider. But still, I know the type of person I am. I know the type of artist I am. And I know what I'm actually capable of. So I'm the type of person where it's like, I'd rather stick with doing what I know is going to work for me and get what I'm going to get in the timing that I'm supposed to get it. But, music, I think that's what people forget. Music is an industry. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, it runs by money. So there are a lot of people that are artists or musicians that are doing it because it's a gimmick. It's a get rich quick scheme. You know what I'm saying? So if you can make a hot 16 or have a hot hook and you got a homie that works with this big producer or knows this label, they'll get you in. You can make $1 million real quick, take that money, flip it, and invest it in something else, or keep being an artist, So I think it just depends on the person, and that's why I kind of say, the journey is really individualized, because it's like literally, like, as a person, what would you do for money? Just like how other people have been bribed to do things and like, oh, I would never do that. But if somebody presented you with $1 million, what would you really do? So I think if we look at it kind of in that same aspect and take kind of the art part out of it, the part that pulls on the heart, it's like it don't have nothing to do with the art. It has everything to do with the money. So it's just like, at the end of the day, what type of person are you, and how much are you willing to give up for a dollar amount?
All right. Let's do this. It's coming out left field.
Okay.
Word association.
Okay.
I'm going to list the artists.
Okay.
First word that comes to your mind.
Okay.
All right. Ready?
Okay.
All right. Taylor Swift. Took a long time.
I don't want to say it. Hitmaker. Let's just go
Hitmaker.
Yeah.
Nice gowns.
Yeah.
Nice gowns. Beyonce.
Icon. That's my girl.
Janet Jackson.
Ooh, innovative.
Chris Brown.
Underrated.
Usher.
Trendsetter.
B2K.
Pretty. I always thought they was just so pretty growing up. But I could give you an artist word.
Jennifer Hudson.
Oh, powerhouse.
Jill Scott.
My sensei.
Kiera Sheard.
Oh my God, that's my girl. I love her. That's all I can say. Kiera changed my life. That's 3 words, but yeah.
Migos.
Rich.
Last one.
Okay.
Jay-Z.
President. Love him.
All right, I got a couple more questions.
Okay.
I like to always just end it on an easy note.
Okay.
Cubs or Sox?
Sox.
Why?
Southsider.
Stephen Colbert or Trevor Noah?
Probably Trevor Noah. I think Stephen Colbert is a little corny. That's just me.
I like Trevor. Viewer discretion. I like both. Trevor Noah is funny. Stephen Colbert is funny. 2 different audiences.
Yeah.
I always say it's Trevor, Stephen, Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth, and John.
Okay. Okay. I understand that. Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. Well, where can they connect with you?
You can follow me on Instagram at AmiMusic _AMIMUSIC. And stay in tune with me. Also on my website, www.officialami.com. I'm also throwing a huge birthday bash for myself. That sounds a little self-righteous, but it's not rooted in that. I'm throwing a huge birthday bash on August 20th, which is my actual birthday, at Emporium in Wicker Park. There will be a special DJ set by the label, which is a duo of black female DJs in Chicago. They're amazing. I try to book them for every event. I'll be performing, and then there will be a jam session / open mic to close the night out. Tickets will be, not sure how much they will be, but follow me on Instagram, AmiMusic _.
All right, there you have it. This is another episode of It Is What It Is. Thanks.